Hello, everyone, and good evening to you all. My name is Felton Parker. Today is Monday, March 17th, 2025. As always, each day is a wonderful day to be blessed by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I sincerely hope you folks enjoyed your weekend, and I sincerely hope you folks had a truly blessed and wonderful Monday. And by the way, today was St. Patrick's Day, and of course, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. And I sincerely hope you folks, you all have worn your green today. Of course, I'm showing my green hat, which I've had here for the past 3 years at least. Of course, my green beats, of course, my St. Patrick's Day Lucky t-shirt. So definitely showing my green here late on this Monday night. What I have for you guys in tonight's video is the list of all the National Day holidays from my National Day calendar segment. That includes my featured National Day holiday. And of course, you all know exactly what I'm going to be talking to you guys about tonight. Also tonight, right after my National Day calendar segment, I'll have my famous birthday segment for you all, where it features all our famous people who were born on this day, who were born on St. Patrick's Day. And also tonight in my weather segment, I will let you all know exactly what we're expecting for tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the remainder of this week, the upcoming weekend, and on to the start of next week. So without further ado, let's get things started here on this Monday night, St. Patrick's Day, as I begin my National Day calendar segment. And of course, you folks know, you all know that today was St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day kicks off a worldwide celebration also known as the Feast of St. Patrick. On this day, March 17th, many wear green in honor of the Irish and decorate with shamrocks. According to the lore, the wearing of the green tradition dates back to a story written about St. Patrick in 1726. St. Patrick used the shamrock to illustrate the Holy Trinity in worn green clothing. And while the story is unlikely to be true, many will revel in Irish heritage and eat traditional Irish fare too. In the United States, St. Patrick's Day has been celebrated since before the country was formed. At times, the holiday has been a bit more of a rowdy one, with green beer, parades, and talk of leprechauns. However, in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day takes on a more solemn mood. It wasn't until events in the United States broadcast in Ireland that some of the Yankee ways spread across the pond. One Irish-American tradition not common to Ireland is corned beef and cabbage. Here's how to observe. Of course, wear green. Read up about St. Patrick's Day. Cook up an Irish feast. Use hashtag St. Patrick's Day to post on social media. The Feast of St. Patrick started in the early 17th century. Today marks the death of St. Patrick and was chosen an official Christian feast day and is observed by the Catholic Church. Today is also a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat. It is also widely celebrated by the Irish diaspora around the world, especially in Great Britain, Canada, the United States, Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand. So here are your facts about St. Patrick's Day. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 31.5 million Americans claim Irish descent. That's a lot of Irish Americans. And that includes those who may be 100% Irish or less than 15% Irish. A little bit of the Emerald Isle goes a long way. The tradition of pinching those who don't wear green on St. Patrick's Day comes from the belief that wearing green made one invisible to the fairies and leprechauns spreading mischief on the particular day. These legendary creatures were known for their pinching. Those celebrating the day would pinch those who didn't wear green as a reminder of what could happen or to impersonate the leprechauns and fairies. That said, if you're going to pinch on St. Patrick's Day, be gentle, or better yet, bring along some green stickers to place on other revelers as a way of offering protection from those menacing leprechauns and fairies. Knowing me, I have never pinched a soul any time in my life who did not wear green. So, I do not feel bad for anyone who doesn't get to wear green on St. Patrick's Day. But you folks, but if you do not see me with green on next St. Patrick's Day, you guys better not pinch me. Of course, I always make sure, but every year on St. Patrick's Day, where it's just a piece of sticker, or if it's a full St. Patrick's Day, you know me, I like to look festive every year on St. Patrick's Day, and of course all the other holidays. I will make sure each and every year on St. Patrick's Day, regardless what day of the week it falls on, I will always make sure to wear my green. And I hope, again, I hope you folks have had on your green on this day. And here's a little bit more about St. Patrick's Day here on this Monday night. St. Patrick's Day, again, St. Patrick's Day, or the Feast of St. Patrick, or the day of the Festival of St. Patrick, is a religious and cultural holiday held on March 17th, to the traditional death date of St. Patrick, excuse me, the foremost patron saint of Ireland. St. Patrick's Day was made an official Christian feast day in the early 17th century, and it is observed by the Catholic Church, the Anglican Communion, especially the Church of Ireland, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Lutheran Church. The day commemorates St. Patrick and the arrival of Christianity in Ireland, and by extension celebrates the heritage and culture of the Irish in general. Celebrations generally involve public parades and festivals, Day in the wearing of green attire or shamrocks. Christians who belong to liturgical denominations also attend church services. Historically, the Lenten restrictions on fasting and drinking alcohol were lifted for the day, which has encouraged the holiday's tradition of revelry. St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the Canadian provinces of Newfoundland and Labrador, for provincial government employees in the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat. It is also widely celebrated in places with a large Irish diaspora community, such as Great Britain, Canada, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in more countries than any other national festival. Modern celebrations have been greatly influenced by those of the Irish diaspora, particularly those that developed in North America. However, there's been criticism of St. Patrick's Day celebrations for having become too commercialized and for fostering negative stereotypes of the Irish people. St. Patrick was a 5th century Christian missionary and bishop in Ireland. Much of what is now St. Patrick was a 5th century Christian missionary and bishop in Ireland. Much of what is known about St. Patrick comes from the Declaration, which was allegedly written by Patrick himself. It is believed that he was born in Roman Britain in the 4th century into a wealthy Romano-British family. His father was a Christian deacon and his grandfather a priest. According to the Declaration, at the age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and was taken as a slave to Gaelic Ireland. It says that he spent 6 years there working as a shepherd, and during this time he found God. The Declaration says that God told Patrick to flee to the coast, where a ship would be waiting to take him home. After making his way home, Patrick went on to become a priest. According to tradition, Patrick returned to Ireland to convert the pagan Irish to Christianity. The Declaration says that he spent many years evangelizing in the northern half of Ireland and converted thousands. Tradition holds that he died on March 17th, that would be today's date, and was buried at Downpatrick. Over the following centuries, many legends grew up around Patrick and he became Ireland's foremost saint. Present-day St. Patrick's Day celebrations have been greatly influenced by those that developed among the Irish diaspora, especially in North America. Until the late 20th century, St. Patrick's Day was often a bigger celebration among the diaspora than it was in Ireland. Celebrations generally involve public parades and festivals, Irish traditional music sessions, Day, and the wearing of green attire or shamrocks. There are also formal gatherings such as banquets and dances, although these were more common in the past. St. Patrick's Day parades began in North America in the 18th century but did not spread to Ireland until the 20th century. The participants generally include marching bands, the military, fire brigades, cultural organizations, charitable organizations, voluntary associations, youth groups, fraternities, and so on. However, over time, many of the parades have become more akin to a carnival. More effort is made to use the Irish language, especially in Ireland, where the beginning of March up until St. Patrick's Day on March 17th is signaling the Gaelic Irish Language Week. Since 2010, famous landmarks have been lifted Famous landmarks have been lit up in green on St. Patrick's Day as part of Tourism Ireland's Global Greening Initiative, or Going Green for St. Patrick's Day. The Sydney Opera House and the Sky Tower in Auckland were the first landmarks to participate, and since then over 300 landmarks in 50 countries across the globe have gone green for St. Patrick's Day. Christians may also attend church services, and the Lenten restrictions on eating and drinking alcohol are lifted for the day. Perhaps because of this, drinking alcohol, particularly Irish whiskey, beer, or cider, has become an integral part of the celebrations. In Ireland, this relaxation of fasting rules is notably marked by the consumption of stout, a dark ale beer that is a key part of the celebration, with breweries preparing months in advance for the demand. The St. Patrick's Day custom is a custom of drowning the shamrock, or wetting the shamrock was historically popular. At the end of the celebrations, especially in Ireland, a shamrock is put into the bottom of a cup, which is then filled with whiskey, beer, or cider. It is then drunk as a toast to St. Patrick, Ireland, or those present. The shamrock will either be swallowed with the drink or taken out and tossed over the shoulder for good luck. Irish government ministers travel abroad on official visits to various countries around St. Patrick's Day to promote Ireland. On St. Patrick's Day, it is customary to wear shamrocks, green clothing, and green accessories. St. Patrick is said to have used the shamrock, a three-leaf plant, to explain the Holy Trinity to the pagan Irish. This story first appears in writing in 1726, though it may be older. In pagan Ireland, there was a significant number, and Irish had many triple deities, which may have aided St. Patrick in his evangelization efforts. The first association of the color green with Ireland is from a legend in the 11th century. It tells of Godel Glas, the eponymous ancestor of the Gaels and creator of the Goidelic languages, Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, and Manx. Godel is bitten by a venomous snake, but saved from death by Moses, placing his staff on the snake bite, leaving him with a green mark. His descendants settled in Ireland and land free of the snakes. The color green was further associated with Ireland from the 1640s, with the green harp flag was used by the Irish Catholic Confederation. Again, here's a little more about St. Patrick's Day in the United States. St. Patrick's Day, although a legal holiday only in Savannah, Georgia, and Suffolk County, Massachusetts, is nonetheless widely recognized and celebrated throughout the United States. It is primarily celebrated as a recognition of Irish and Irish American culture. Celebrations include prominent displays of the color green, eating and drinking, religious observances, and numerous parades. The holiday has been celebrated in what is now the U.S. since 1601. According to the National Retail Federation, consumers in the United States spent $4.4 billion on St. Patrick's Day in 2016. This amount was down from the $4.8 billion spent in 2014. The first recorded St. Patrick's Day celebration in America was in St. Augustine, Spanish Florida, in the year 1600, according to Michael Francis's 2017 research. Francis discovered the first St. Patrick's Day parade was also in St. Augustine in 1601. Both were organized by the Spanish colony's Catholic vicar Richard Arthur. Every year since 1991, March has been proclaimed Irish. Every year since 1991, March has been proclaimed Irish American Heritage Month by the U.S. Congress or President due to the date of St. Patrick's Day. Christian denominations in the United States observing this feast day include the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, Episcopal Church in the United States, and the Roman Catholic Church. Today, St. Patrick's Day is widely celebrated in America by Irish and non-Irish alike. For most Irish Americans, this holiday is both religious and festive. It is one of the leading days for the consumption of alcohol in the United States, as individuals are allowed to break their Lenten sacrifices for the day in order to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Although consumption levels vary by state, the consumption of artificially colored green beer is a common celebration. Green Beer Day, for instance, is a tradition among students at Miami University in Ohio dating to 1952. This day has been held on the Thursdays before spring break due to the fact that St. Patrick's Day often occurs during the spring recess. This holiday has been criticized for promoting overindulgence in alcohol, resulting in drunk driving, property damage, absenteeism, public urination and vomiting, and other ill effects. A notable difference between traditions is widely observed in the United States versus those of Ireland is the consumption of corned beef, which is not a traditional Irish dish, but rather one that was adopted by the new immigrants upon their arrival in the 19th century. Many people choose to wear green-colored clothing and items. Traditionally, those who are called not green are pinched affectionately. I wouldn't do it. Seattle and other cities paint the traffic stripe of their parade routes green. Chicago dyes its river green and has done so since 1962 when sewer workers used green dye to check for sewer discharges and had the idea to turn the river green for St. Patrick's Day. Originally, 100 pounds of vegetable dye was used to turn the river green for a whole week, but now only 40 pounds of dye and is used and the color only lasts for several hours. Indianapolis also dyes its main canal green, hence the area code 317. That's today's date. Savannah dyes its downtown city fountains green. Missouri University of Science and Technology. St. Pat's Board alumni paint 12 city blocks Kelly green with mops before the annual parade. So there are many cities across the U.S. that have St. Patrick's Day celebrations. And Chicago being the most famous one with the Chicago River dyeing green. And here's a common tradition St. Patrick's Day that may not be Irish related. National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day. Each year on this day, National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day coincide with St. Patrick's Day in the United States. The corn something is simply to preserve it in a salty brine. The term corn refers to the coarse grains of salt used for curing. Corned beef is a salt-cured beef product. Traditional Irish corned beef and cabbage recipes uses salt pork or bacon joint instead of corned beef. However, sometime in the mid-1800s when Irish immigrated to America, they found Jewish corned beef very similar in texture to the bacon joint or pork. As a result, they used corned beef as a replacement for the bacon when preparing corned beef and cabbage meals. Soon after, Irish Americans began having corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. Corned beef and cabbage remains a popular food in many areas of the United States. So, of course, that's my National Day Calendar segment here on this Monday night. Now here's my famous birthday segment. Here are all our famous birthdays all our famous people who have celebrated their birthdays on St. Patrick's Day. Today, rock singer Hozier turns 35. Pop singer Grams turns 37. Movie actor Rob Lowe turns 61. Soccer player Mia Hamm turns 53. Reggae singer Nicky Jam turns 44. R&B singer Tamar Braxton turns 48. Movie actor Kurt Russell turns 74. Boxer Clarissa Shields turns 30. Entrepreneur Jamie Salvatore turns 45. TV actor Brian Deschar turns 38. Movie actor John Boyega turns 33. Rock singer Billy Corgan turns 58. Guitarist Miles Kane turns 39. Movie actress Julia Winter turns 32. Those are famous birthdays, people who have celebrated their birthdays earlier today on St. Patrick's Day. Now, I don't have a lot of time with you guys, I know. Good evening to you, Jessica. How are you doing today? And how was your St. Patrick's Day? Here's your weather. Now, of course, today has turned out to be such a beautiful, today weather turned out to be such a beautiful, nice, and pleasantly warm day. Thank you so much, and I sincerely hope you had your green on. Look for warmer overnight temperatures across the 4-state region tonight. Windy conditions will move into the area Tuesday ahead of a cool front on Wednesday. Cooler temperatures will return on Thursday. Well, mine was kind of busy too, especially early in the day. So expect lows to be just a few degrees above normal. Increasing clouds overnight tonight. We'll call it partly cloudy skies with lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow will be windy, continue, and and of course warmer with highs reaching the low 80s again. Before a cool down, of course, windy, a cool frontal passage. That's what could lead up to windy conditions. Well, tell I said happy birthday. With cool front passage, slight rain chance in southern zones. I'm not expecting anything much around here, except highs. And of course, Thursday is the first day of spring. Cooler conditions, highs ranging in the mid upper 60s and lows in the low to mid 40s. So, and of course, warmer, drier latter half of March. You know, we had a rather active start to the weekend. Chances are better. Say, could we be expecting a warmer and drier latter half of March? Chances are better that temperatures will be warmer than normal and precipitation chances lower than normal for the latter half of March across the entire 4-state region. What you see here to the left, the map to the left is the temperature outlook. So we should be seeing temperatures just a few. So what you're seeing here is that for our neck of the woods, temperature should be about at least 40 to 50% chance of above normal temperatures. So that means we're going to be warmer than average, but not too warm, hopefully. So because we set a record high temperature at some point late last week, and we finally have cooled down to seasonal levels during the day yesterday. We actually had a high temperature that reached the low 80s earlier today, so we started the week off with above normal temperatures. Now precipitation chances, what you're looking at is around at least 40%. They're really leaning towards below normal rainfall here across the entire 4-state region, with at least 33 to 40% of below normal rainfall. But save for it, because I do have a chance of storms arriving later in the weekend, especially on Sunday. Now we do have another threat of severe weather on the way. Now's the time to prepare for this, even though this is 6 days out. Details are few, but we may be looking at the possibility of severe thunderstorms sometime late next weekend. Exact timing and specifics concerning severe weather will become clearer as we approach the weekend. So we have a 15% chance of a slight risk of strong to severe storms to develop sometime late in the weekend. This will most likely impact as we close out the weekend this coming next Sunday. Sometime on Sunday, but exact timing will become better clear later this week. So I will continue to keep you guys updated on this as we go through the next few days. Specific severe thunderstorm threats are difficult to determine, will become clearer later this week. So I will keep you guys updated throughout the week. Here's what you should do. Keep abreast of the latest forecast updates concerning this severe weather forecast for late next weekend, the upcoming weekend, should I say. At least a 15% chance of a slight risk. So just be prepared and stay tuned, because even though this is days out, and of course this could change. Normal high is 71, normal low is 48. 88 is a record high set on this day back in 1908. 27 is a record low set on this day back in 1892. And we are not under any watches and warnings here on this Monday night, except some of our southern Deep East Texas counties are under a wind advisory. And of course, we could be dealing with windy conditions at some point during this weekend. Of course, all is quiet across the entire 4-state region here on this Monday night. Of course, it turned out to be a nice St. Patrick's Day for us. Whether you won your green today or not, and what you see on the regional weather is all is quiet. Not one location across the southern portion of the U.S. is receiving any rain. This is influenced by ridge high pressure settling over southwest Louisiana. So in the forecast, we're looking much warmer temperatures. No major rain chances. Not like what we experienced as we start the weekend, but so today we managed to see sunshine with a few clouds from time to time. We've seen sunshine, just a few clouds. It turned out to be a mostly sunny day. What a nice day! Another day with low humidity. Of course, we've seen breezy conditions at times with highest wind gusts up to over 24 miles per hour. So it turned out to be another breezy day. Of course, we've seen much of the day was filled with mainly sunshine, mainly wall-to-wall sunshine, just a couple clouds. We actually reached a high temperature of 81 degrees earlier today in Shreveport. It was a rather chilly start to this St. Patrick's Day, as most of us were eating in the upper 30s to low 40s. Temperature outside here on this Monday night is 68 degrees with mostly clear skies. Humidity is 40%. Dew point is 43 degrees. We have a south wind at 13 miles per hour. We have barometric pressure at 30.12 inches of mercury. So 68 degrees, that's just a couple, that's just a few degrees lower than what our normal high temperature should be this time of year. So, and it is, so that lets us know that temperatures are not expected to get anywhere dropping it. It is not expected to get anywhere. Definitely won't be getting anywhere near as chilly as it was this morning. Definitely not as cool as it was this morning. So it was rather chilly this morning. Tracking a strong spring storm with widespread hazardous weather. A strong spring storm will bring high winds and extremely critical fire weather to parts of the southern plains Tuesday, then heavy snow and possible blizzard conditions from the central plains to the upper Midwest on Wednesday. So tonight, expect partly cloudy skies. Temperatures are not going to get anywhere near as chilly as they were this morning. Low temperature tonight, 55 degrees with the south wind at 10 miles per hour, and no rains expected. Actually tonight will be expect above normal temperatures as we start the day. Now, of course, tomorrow, like today, we should have a high temperature reaching the low 80s. Expect sunny to partly cloudy skies. I say mostly sunny, breezy, and very warm, with the high temperature of 81 degrees to the south wind at 16 miles per hour. We could see gusts up to 33 miles per hour, and no rains expected tomorrow as we go into your Tuesday. So tomorrow's going to be another dry, breezy, and warm day, much like what we experienced today. So tomorrow will not be as cool, unlike what we saw this morning. So 6 a.m. tomorrow morning expect partly cloudy skies overnight tonight with lows ranging from the mid to upper 50s, low 60s. So we'll start out tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. the temperature 56. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning with partly cloudy skies. We should be at 56 degrees. 9 a.m. tomorrow with mostly sunny skies. We should be at 62 degrees. Noon tomorrow with mostly sunny skies. We should be at 72 degrees. 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon with partly cloudy skies, we should be at 78 degrees. 6 p.m. tomorrow evening with partly cloudy skies, we should be at 78 degrees. 9 p.m. tomorrow night with partly cloudy skies, we should be at 70 degrees. So another nice and warm day set up for your Tuesday. Only we should have more clouds around tomorrow, just a bit more clouds around tomorrow than what we saw today. Now here's what the next 7 to 10 days have in store for us. After tonight's low temperature, 55 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Of course, that is morning a few degrees above. That is several degrees above normal for this time of year. So we'll have a mild start to the day tomorrow with lows in mid 50s. Tomorrow, expect it would be breezy and warm. It would be a breezy and very warm day for us with mostly sunny skies, with the high of 81, low of 65. Winds will be from the south at 16 miles per hour because it gusts up to 33 miles per hour. I'm going to go and put your rain chance at 10%. So we may have a slight little minor disturbance that'll come through, but it's not going to bring much of any rain. So basically, tomorrow should be a dry day, another dry day for us, just like today turned out to be. So Wednesday, expect windy conditions. Despite plenty of sunshine, it will be quite a windy day for us, with the high of 77, low of 44. Winds will be from the west at 20 miles per hour. We could see gusts up to 30 miles per hour, and no rains expected. Now, of course, do not forget Thursday is the official first day of spring. The official spring equinox will happen this coming Thursday, March 20th at 4:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Very early Thursday morning, March 20th, officially marks the first day of spring at 4:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time. High of 68, low of 41. Winds will be winds will be from the northwest at 12 miles per hour, and no rains expected. So it'll be just a bit cooler for your Thursday. Of course, going to your Friday, expect a delightful ending to the work week. It will be breezy and pleasant with plenty of sunshine. High of 75, low of 41. Winds will be from the south-southeast at 14 miles per hour. We could see gusts up to 31 miles per hour. I'm going to put your rain chances at 10%, maybe just a small shower or two. That won't happen until late Friday night. Of course, we have a nice start to the weekend for your Saturday. Be a nice day for us with plenty of sunshine. High of 78, low of 57. Winds will be from the northwest at 8 miles per hour with no rains expected. Now, of course, Sunday is when we have our next severe weather fair upon us. It'll be very warm with partly mostly cloudy skies Expect a couple strong thunderstorms to develop, especially in the afternoon. High of 81, low of 52. Winds will be from the south at 10 miles per hour, chance rain 60%. And of course, going to the start of next week, for next Monday, which is the 24th, expect partly cloudy skies, high of 79, low of 51. Winds will be from the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour, and no rain is expected. Also expect very warm temperatures as we go into the duration of next week. Have a 30% rain chance by Tuesday of next week, which is the 25th. Wednesday of next week, which is the 26th, 60% rain chance as of right now. And as of right now, next Thursday is looking rather dry and warm with mostly sunny skies, but highs in the low 80s and the rain's expected. So again, we have a high temperature reaching low 80s tomorrow. Not as warm for Wednesday. We have low 80s for tomorrow, mid to upper 70s come Wednesday. Of course, Thursday tends as we officially begin spring on Thursday. Expect highs to reach the upper 60s. Then we're in the mid, just slightly cooler for Thursday. Expect highs to reach we have highs in mid to upper 70s for both Thursday and Friday. Low 80s for both Friday and Saturday, with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Highs reaching low 80s by Sunday. With our next storm system on the way, highs will be in the upper 70s come Monday next week as we start next week. Rain chances, 10% chance for tomorrow. Just very small rain chances. Looking dry, basically dry. Rain chances 10% or less beginning tomorrow, which is Tuesday through Saturday. 60% rain chance come Sunday, and no rain is expected as we go into the start of next week. Well, that will be all that I have for you guys here on this Monday night. Again, I sincerely hope you folks enjoyed your St. Patrick's Day. Hope you had your grain on. Once again, my name is Felton Park. I'm officially signing off here. You guys have a good night. Sleep peacefully and take care of yourselves and each other. Most of all, remain blessed and stay safe. Thank you.